Hey guys, it's Tracy. I want to share with you a box that I made for my Waterfall Folio, and I used an SVG cuts file as a reference for making the box. So here is the SVG cuts file, which is called Summer Blockbuster, that I made so that I could use it to see how it was constructed. In December, I think it was Christmas time, I made boxes for my kids because I put DVDs in them. So I had an idea of how I wanted my box to be. So I cut that out and I used this, like I said, as a reference. And I created this box. And it has acetate in it. And the water folio measures 4.5 by 8.5. So in order for me to create the cut file, because that's what I did first, was create a cut file. When I got finished creating that cut file, it ended up being like a little over 13 inches. So, which was fine because I have the long, I keep wanting to say Cricut. I have the long Cameo mat, which is 12 by 24, and I had some Cricut paper that was 12 by 24. So that's how I was able to create this box. But I also wanted to create the box using my Cameo if I needed to, but more importantly, I wanted to see how I could construct the box with using just my paper trimmer and scoreboard. So that's what I did, and that's what I want to show you guys, how to do it using your paper trimmer and scoreboard. So what you will need, you're going to need two 6.5 by 9 inch pieces of paper, and I use 12 by 12 cardstock, but if you don't have 12 by 12, you can use 8.5 by 11. You just need whatever to be able to cut these sizes. And then you need two 5-inch by 2.5-inch pieces, which will be used for the flaps on your box. And if you decide to add a window, you will need a piece of acetate, and if you want to follow my directions for the size that I have, your acetate needs to be 4 3/8 inches wide by 7.5 inches long. So let me show you. So what you want to do, this will be our front cover. So you want to take your scoreboard, and I've already done it, but I'll show you. So what you want to do is take your scoreboard, and your 6.5-inch piece will be aligned to the top, and you want to score at 1/2 inch, and then you want to score at 1.5 inches. So again, you want to score at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. And what you want for this front piece, because that's what we're doing, the front piece now, you want the right side of your paper to be facing up. Now we're going to do the back piece. Now for the back piece, you want your right side of your paper or your cardstock, if it has one, facing down. And if there's any directional pattern on your paper, you want to make sure that that is in the correct order, which would be, let me show you as an example. Like this is directional, because see the little outfits? You don't want it to be like this. You want when you flip it down, you want the little outfits to be in the right direction, which would be the top part of the outfit would be up at the top. So then what you want to do is you want to score at 5 inches, and then you want to score at 6 inches. And I made these lines darker so folks who may have issues with seeing the score lines, just to get a visual of how theirs should look. That's why I did this, because I have a subscriber who has issues with seeing like where to cut certain things at in score lines. So I thought that I would highlight that when possible, if I remember, and when possible. So that's the back piece. So set that aside. So then you have your flat pieces. So you want to take your 2.5-inch piece, and that should be across the top. And you want to do that for both. And you want to score at 1/2 inch. And then you want to score it at 1.5 inches. So again, your 2.5-inch piece to be up at the top of your board, and you want to score it at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inch. I've already done that for sake of time. And then what I also did is when we go get ready to put the box together, we're going to miter those corners, and they're on the 1/2 inch side. So I just marked them so you could see those. And then we want to miter the ends, these ends as well, and I have not marked those yet, but let me do that. We want to miter those ends. And you just want to take a little bit off. That's it. So, see, that's what we're going to do. Let me do this one. So again, we're going to miter those ends. Okay, so then what you want to do, let me move my scoreboard. We just want to crease all our score lines. So this is the front. So what you want to do is fold your score lines towards the back. And then this is your back piece. And what you want to do for this score line, you want to crease all your score lines towards the front. So then that piece will look like this. This piece will look like that. So then we want to score our flat pieces. And you want to score them inward. Your good side should be on the outside. And we have those pieces. Set those aside. And I want to explain to you guys, hopefully real quick, how I created this window for my box. And you can do it a couple different ways. And I can show you how to do a window with some type of steel die that you might have. But for now, I'm going to show you what I did in my Cameo. So what I did in my Cameo, I used the tools that are on the side, and it's that rectangle tool, and I used the rounded rectangle. So what I did, I created a rectangle, and I made it 6.5 inches wide by 9 inches long, which is the same size as your cardstock pieces. So because I already knew that there's a 1/2 inch seam on the side, and I knew that the gusset or the side of the box is 1 inch, that's what I did. I created rectangles, and I made one 9 inches by 1/2 inch. I made another one 1 inch by 9 inches. And then what I did was take a copy of this one because I needed to make 3 of these. So I made 3 of those, and then I made 2 of the one. So I made 3, yes, I made 3 1/2 inch by 9 inches, which are the black pieces. This red piece right here is 1 inch by 9 inch. I needed another 1 inch piece for the top. So I made that 1 inch by 6.5 inches, and that would be the width of your base piece. And I did all that because I wanted to center this window in between the space that would be left after you folded the box. And because I wanted to have some, like, what do you want to call this, a border left around the front of the box, that's why I created these pieces, these 2 pieces here, like this 1/2 inch here and here. And then I knew I wanted my window to come down 1 inch from the top, so that's why I created that. So I have all these little cut file pieces, but what you want to do for all these cut file pieces except for this piece, that means including the outside, which is a 6 by 9, after you draw them, you want to see how I have it lined up. You have your base piece, which is 6.5 by 9. Have all your little pieces, and then you want to align all your little cut pieces on your silhouette mat just the way you see them here. But turn off your cut lines. Turn off all your cut lines except for when you draw your 3 3/8 inch by 6 3/4 inch window, and that's what this is. This window was drawn using the rectangle, the rounded rectangle tool, and it's 3 3/8 inches wide by 6 3/4 inches. So what I did was center that in between this area right here, between those two black pieces, and I centered that. And then I turned on the cut lines for this because that's the only piece that I wanted to cut out, and that's the only way I knew how to center this window in between that spacing. Like I said, in between all the spacing and stuff over here. So I hope that makes sense. So I want to show you what I did. So what you want to do at this point, you've already creased your front cover piece, which is fine. So what you want to do is take and lay that on your mat, and you're going to put it up in the left hand corner. Make sure it's, you know, sticking good. And in your silhouette where you created this piece right here, which, you know, this is just for demonstration purposes because I couldn't show you guys my screen. I tried videotaping it and didn't come up clear, so I thought I would show you this way. So what you're going to do once your cut file is all together, and I would group all those pieces, you want to move that whole file on your silhouette mat in your silhouette. You want to move that up all the way up to that left corner. So then when you align your paper on the mat and you slide it, put it in your machine to cut it, it'll cut it perfectly. So I just wanted to show you guys how I created that opening. But there's another way too that you can create an opening, and you can use your Cuttlebug or Big Shot or one of those machines. But the only thing with that is that those Cuttlebugs and those cutting machine platforms are normally only 6 inches wide or so. And this is 6 1/2. So what you'll have to do is fold this back. So you'll have to fold this 1/2 inch back. Oh, so what? Yeah. So what I want to do, not back. You want to just turn it for now. You just want to turn it in on itself like this. And let me get my. I have a big. I have a big kick here. Sorry for all this noise. And I'm using a metal platform. I mean, yes. What is that? The magnetic platform. So you want to put that base down first. You want to put your cutting plate down. And then you want to take your piece, your front cover, again with this 1/2 inch crease towards the top, just for now. Put that down. And then I'm just going to use this because I don't have any big dies. Like I think if you had maybe the, what's that thing called? Grand Nestabilities, Grand Caliber, or whatever. They're larger dies. You could get a larger opening with a die that's that big. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm not even trying to make sure it's lined up real perfect or anything. I just want to show you what you could do. So you could put that piece down, put this on the top, and then run it through. Oops. And that creates an opening for you. I didn't cut it all the way through, but I didn't have enough pressure on it, but you'll get the gist of it. Let me show you. Move this out of the way. Sorry for the squeaky chair, good Lord. So it didn't cut all the way through, but let me just show you because I didn't have the pressure. Something wasn't right. So pretend like this is not here. So this is what it did. It cut a opening in the front. So then now you can just crease this back the way it should be. So then that's another way that you can cut a decorative opening in the front of your box. Okay, so back to the box. So now let me grab the pieces. So now I'm going to switch. Now I'm going to grab the piece that I had cut out using my silhouette to make that window. I'm going to grab this off the mat. Put that to the side. So now I'm just going to crease again this piece. And again, you're creasing it towards the back. I'm going to crease that. So then you have your back piece, and remember it creased towards the front. So now you want to take this piece, and with the top facing up, take one of your flat pieces, and you want to go ahead at this point and miter your corners. See? And then we want to miter this corner too. I mean this flat piece too. And the miter is on the 1/2 inch side. Okay. So then you want to take some glue, and I recommend wet glue. Unless I guess you can use a strong score tape, but I've been using wet glue lately. And then you want to put wet glue on the right side, not the wrong side, the right side of that 1 inch, I mean 1/2 inch spacing. And you want to center that in between this second score line and the end. So my nail, I broke my nail. That second score line here and the end. So you want to go ahead and put that down. Only thing about this quick dry glue, it does really dry quick. Sometimes that's not a good thing. So then turn it to the opposite end and go ahead and do the same for this side. Again, you want to have the right side up, and you want to put glue in this 1/2 inch spacing. And as before, glue it to the end. Make sure it's lined up on the end, and to that second score mark. When it was on the scoreboard, that would have been your second score mark. So now your piece looks like this. So let's set that. No, we want to set that aside. No, yeah. So we did miter. So now what I want to do too is go ahead and miter these ends right here. So see, this is how your piece looks right now. You just want to miter those two ends. And again, you just want to come up to that first score mark and just take off a little bit. Come up to that first score mark and cut off a little bit. So now you want to take the back piece and you want to miter those pieces too. So again, in this case, the back one, it would be the second score mark. That would be that 6 inch score mark, and just miter the corner. Same here. That would be your second score mark and miter the corner. So that's what that looks like. So now what we want to do, we want to add adhesive. This is your back piece, and you want to add adhesive to that 1/2 inch spacing. And you want to take the front piece, and where we had attached the tabs, that's where you want to apply. That's where you want to attach this piece here, in between where you attach the tabs or the flaps at, I mean. So let's do that. And do it, guys, however you need to manipulate it so that you can see it and it's more comfortable for you. All right. So that's been applied. So now before we totally close the box up, this is where you would add your acetate. I'm not going to do that. You would just add acetate around the parameter of your, add glue around the parameter of your acetate. Don't put too much, because when you go to rub it down, you don't want it to ooze into the an area where, like the front piece, you don't want it to ooze out of that, so you see that. So then you would apply your acetate, and now we can close the box up. So what you're going to do is take the opposite side and just crease that again, and then apply glue. And just put that piece on there. Again, work with it, bring it towards you if you have to, so you can see what you're doing. I think I got too much glue here, but so see, now our box has been formed. So now what I did, I took just any type of corner rounder and rounded the corners. Okay, so as far as the closing the box up, it's up to you how you want to do that. But what you could do, let's say if you wanted this tab to be in the inside of the box, you want to take glue. If you want to be on the inside, you want to take your glue and apply it, which would be the good side, in this 1-inch spacing. Apply glue there, and I can do that. And I want to set that down inside there. Make sure you got your like the end of your tab, there's a fold line or crease line. Just want to make sure that aligns to the end of your box. And then what you want to do is take something long like a ruler. Where's my ruler? I'm just going to use my Tim Holtz ruler, and just use that so you can push up against it until your box starts sticking, until that flap starts sticking to your box. I got glue all over my hand. So let's see. Yeah, so now the box is closed at the bottom. And then for the top, you can take if you want, you don't even have to, but if you wanted to add one of those little finger tabs, you could take a round, what do you call it, like a circle punch, and just take a little piece out of the middle of it. But if not, again, you could just stick it inside of it if you wanted to. So, and I'll just show you, I'm going to stick this folio in there. Okay. And there's the folio. It's in the box. And I didn't glue, it's coming out. I didn't glue that good. I thought I did with all that glue. But you get the idea. Here it is. So see, fits it just, it's fine. Has a little space in there to move around. So again, the possibilities are endless. You can use whatever die you want. And if I wanted to say too, if you had something where you have a little bit more bulk on the top, what you could always do is increase the size of the box. You can increase, I call it the gusset, the side. You can increase that. So if you increase that, then you also remember you have to increase that flap spacing too, because all that needs to line up. So right now you have a 1-inch gap or 1-inch gusset. You can make that 1 1/4, 1 1/2, 2 inches wide if you want to. So what you would just do is add that much more to the overall size of your paper. So let's say if you wanted to add another inch, which 2 inches would be really wide, but so instead of your two base pieces being 6 1/2, by 9.5, it would end up being 7.5 by 6.5 by 9. Your original two pieces are 6.5 by 9. I think I said 6.5 by 9.5, but they would be 6.5 by 9. If you want to increase it by an inch, you would change it to 7.5 by 9. You will still score at a 1/2 inch because that's the piece we need to glue everything together. And then you would move over 2 more inches from that score line, and then that creates your 2-inch gusset. Same thing for the flaps. The original flap pieces are, what did I say? They're 2.5 by 5. It will continue to be 5 inches wide, but then what you would want to do is, yes, it will continue to be 5 inches wide, but you would want to increase the, what do we call that? The width, the depth of the flap. So instead of it being 2.5 inches, it's now 3.5 inches. So it would be 3.5 inches by 5. And then again, you still want to have your 1 inch, not 1 inch, you want to have your 1/2 inch score line, which we need that to attach it to the box. And then your next score line would be 2 inches from that 1/2 inch line. So what would that be? 2.5 inches? And then you have an inch left because again we increased it to 3.5 by 5. So I hope that helps someone if they do have something that's a little like, it's like bulky and you want to create a like chunky box. So if you guys have any questions, as always, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. But I will definitely be making some more boxes because I'm still making the waterfall folios. So I just wanted to have a box to put them in. All right, guys. So thanks a lot for watching, commenting, and subscribing. Bye.